All right, let's cross to Sherwin Bryce-Pease right now in New York. Sherwin, thank you for sending through those words from the ambassador. Tell us a bit more about the diplomacy that's been happening today, leading to that meeting that I believe was behind closed doors.
Well, Ambassador Jerry Matjila, of course, was in South Africa recently for the diplomatic Bosparade hosted by President Zuma and International Relations Minister Maitho Nkoana Mashabane. He has now returned to New York and felt it was his duty to pay a courtesy call on the UN Secretary General to explain South Africa's position. And part of that clip that you saw there was a recommitment from South Africa, certainly to clear the air, if you will, that they remain, certainly within the year that it takes for the withdrawal to take effect. They remain committed to the principles of the Rome Statute, that they will continue to work with parties to the Rome Statute and will respect the precepts of the International Criminal Court. What you also don't see in that discussion, and we'll send that to you a bit later, is the Secretary General offering Ambassador Matjila, the ambassador's words that is, that he will facilitate a meeting with Fatou Bensouda when she is in New York next week. Fatou Bensouda, of course, the Gambian prosecutor of the International Criminal Court. So we can confirm that next week, facilitated by the Secretary General, a meeting will take place here in New York by Ambassador Matjila and the ICC prosecutor. And Ambassador Matjila also saying that he's met with a number of ambassadors that have expressed their concern at South Africa's withdrawal and that they want to continue the conversation in the hopes that they can persuade South Africa to rescind the withdrawal before it takes effect in a year's time.
Is there any sign, Sherwin, that we could back down, or are we sticking to our guns and just respectfully attending these meetings?
Well, that is the real question here. It's the first time we've heard from any senior South African official that they are open to persuasion. I mean, in Ambassador Matjila's words, they will happily have the conversations. It's about harmonizing South Africa's concerns with their obligations under the Rome Statute, concerns that come up or develop out of the AU Constitutive Act, concerns that have been raised in terms of obligations under immunity, particularly visiting heads of state and the immunity that applies to them, and whether those obligations can be harmonized with South Africa's obligations to arrest, for example, a visiting head of state if there is an ICC warrant of arrest or an indictment against them. So that's the conversation that is going to start or certainly continue. But he did also express the fact that this was not a knee-jerk reaction by South Africa. They didn't just decide, wake up one morning and decide that they wanted to withdraw from the ICC. They have been having these conversations in The Hague. They have been attending meetings of the states parties. In fact, there was a group of AU ambassadors that came to present their concerns to the Security Council here in New York, which we reported on. So clearly there's been an effort to change the rules or change the obligations of the Rome Statute obligations so that they better harmonize with obligations under immunity. And I think we'll see more of a conversation, certainly in the weeks and months ahead, as member states here at the United Nations, parties to the Rome Statute, engage further with South Africa's diplomats, including their ambassador here.
Sherwin, finally, a fellow member of SADC, Botswana, has criticized our decision to withdraw. Is that filtering down to the halls of the UN, causing any sort of stir yet?
Well, it doesn't really come as any surprise that Botswana would criticize this decision. They have, in the past, attested to their commitment to the statutes and the precepts of the ICC. And on many other decisions, certainly within the African Union, Botswana tends to be an outlier. So that's sort of a regional politics playing itself out. But I don't think it should come as any surprise that Botswana would criticize South Africa's withdrawal. Just look at what Botswana's president has said about neighboring Zimbabwe's president, if you need an idea.
Yeah, that's true. Very critical of Robert Mugabe. And that was Sherwin Bryce-Pease, our correspondent from the United Nations, and we'll continue to bring you more of that diplomacy efforts underway at the UN, perhaps to get South Africa to change its mind.